my child's funeral destroyed me. Months later, I was told it's possible. My child could be alive today. The doctors lied to me when they said my newborn daughter was perfectly healthy. I was 28 and a single mom who'd spent 9 months preparing for this moment. The doctor smiled and said Serena had passed all her tests with flying colors. She had 10 fingers and 10 toes, and the most beautiful brown eyes I'd ever seen. I bundled her up and took her home feeling like the luckiest person alive, but something felt off from the first night home. Serena wouldn't latch properly when I tried to feed her, and she seemed to struggle with every breath. Her tiny chest would rise and fall too quickly, like she was working harder than she should. When I called the hospital, they said it was normal new mom anxiety, and that babies sometimes need time to adjust. I wanted to believe them so badly. By the second week, Serena had barely gained any weight. She slept almost 20 hours a day, which the parenting book said was too much. Her skin had this grayish tint that made my stomach twist with worry. I took her back to the pediatrician, who listened to her heart for what felt like forever. He frowned, but then forced a smile and said some babies just develop slower than others. The nights were the worst part. Serena would wake up gasping, and I'd sit there rocking her for hours trying to help her breathe easier. I bought a humidifier and elevated her crib and tried every trick I could find online. My mom came to stay and help, but even she looked worried when she held Serena. We both pretended everything was fine, but I could see the fear in her eyes. By the end of the first month, Serena could barely keep formula down. She'd throw up after every feeding and cry this weak little cry that broke my heart. The pediatrician finally ordered some tests but said they were just being cautious. I held Serena while they drew blood from her tiny arm, and she didn't even have the energy to cry. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. The test results showed problems with Serena's heart and lungs. The specialist said it was a rare condition that somehow got missed at birth. They started her on medications and monitors but warned me to prepare for the worst. I quit my job to take care of her full time. Every day became about counting breaths and checking oxygen levels and praying for a miracle that never came. Serena made it 2 months and 3 days. She died in my arms one Tuesday morning while the sun was coming up. She just stopped breathing, and no amount of CPR could bring her back. The paramedics had to physically pull her from my arms while I screamed. My mom held me while I sobbed on the kitchen floor for hours. The funeral was a blur of flowers and people saying they were sorry. 3 weeks after the funeral, I got a call that changed my entire life. The hospital administrator asked me to come in immediately for an urgent matter. When I arrived, there were lawyers and police officers and a couple I'd never seen before. The woman was sobbing while a man in handcuffs sat with his head down. The administrator's hands shook as she explained what had happened. The man was Dr. Derek Gomez, who worked in the NICU at the hospital where Serena was born. His wife Camilla had given birth the same day as me to a baby girl with severe heart defects. Dr. Gomez knew their baby would need extensive surgeries and might not survive. In a moment of panic and selfishness, he switched the identification bracelets while doing rounds. He gave me their sick baby and took my healthy daughter home. My real daughter Azul was alive and healthy and had been living with the Gomez for 3 months. The administrator brought her in, and the moment I saw her, I knew she was mine. She had my nose and my grandmother's chin, and when she grabbed my finger, I felt my heart break and heal at the same time. Camilla Gomez hadn't known about the switch and was just as devastated as me. Dr. Gomez was arrested for kidnapping and fraud and a dozen other charges. He kept saying he did it to protect his wife from heartbreak, but ended up causing so much more pain. During the trial, it came out that he'd falsified medical records and convinced nurses that the babies looked similar enough that nobody questioned it. He got 15 years in prison. The strangest part was what happened with Camilla Gomez and me. We should have hated each other, but instead we bonded over our shared grief. She'd lost the baby she thought was hers, just like I'd lost Serena. We started meeting for coffee and talking about how to move forward. She helped me learn about Azul's first 3 months, and I told her about Serena's final days. Now Azul is 2 years old and thriving. Camilla is her godmother, and we see each other every week. Sometimes we talk about Serena and the 3 months of love I gave her. Camilla says I gave her daughter the gift of being cherished in her final days instead of passing alone in a hospital. I'm still angry about what Dr. Gomez stole from me, but Camilla and I are raising Azul together now, and she has 2 moms who will never let her doubt how loved she is.